Hello everyone, Dr. Candace Creasman here, and I want to tell you a little story about a young woman who was at the top of her game to everyone in the outside world, but on the inside felt like a crumbling mess of a failure. She was just about to start a PhD program. She had just started her own business, but she was living with a man who was emotionally abusive and an untreated alcoholic. She had a long history of depression and had tried pretty much everything to get better. She had tried medication, she'd tried therapy, she'd tried martial arts, she'd tried drinking, she'd tried smoking, she tried running. Some of it helped, and not so much the drinking and smoking, but ultimately she still just felt broken. Well, that young woman was me, and what I learned the hard way during the ending of that unhealthy relationship was that I had untended soul wounds. I realized that I was going to keep ending up in the same unfulfilling relationships, feeling as much like a failure as I always did, no matter what I accomplished, unless I looked at the source of my negative beliefs about myself and about the world. So I came upon this book that many of my clients will recognize because I recommend it to literally everyone. It's called How to Make Peace with Your Parents. And I started working through, following the steps in that book, all the ways that I had learned to be an emotional caretaker, to take up as little room as possible so I wouldn't upset my mom or make her single parent life any harder than it was. And in that process, I learned that I had what I now call a soul wound. And my soul wound told me that I was broken, that I wasn't good enough, I wasn't smart enough, I wasn't pretty enough, I wasn't whole enough to deserve a stable, loving partner or really any success to speak of. And my soul wound, which got its start in my relationship with my parents, had poisoned my perspective in a way that I wasn't really able to enjoy much of anything, even as an adult, because of that story of being less than. That was constantly running in the background. That story was the story I had built my life around, not being good enough. Okay, I had become an overachiever at everything from sports to personal growth, all because I felt like I was damaged goods. I had been drawn to relationships that always required that I work harder than the other person because I thought messed up, immature men were all that was available to me. So I checked out my parental experiences and I also started to meditate in earnest. I made it a regular practice. And in the space of meditation, I allowed whatever hurt I had to show up. And rather than reacting to it with anger or judgment, I tried to parent myself through it. I told myself it was okay to feel that way and that I didn't have anything to be fearful of. I started to nurture myself through all those negative images from the past, all those times that I'd felt rejected by my friends, all the body negativity that I had internalized in my years of dancing, and all the self-inflicted wounds of overworking and over-exercising, and the intensely damaging self-talk that had been running in my head for as long as I could remember. I let all of this show up, and then I let my heart break around it. So I cried a lot. I also started volunteering, and I started to make choices about how I spent my time that were in the service of the kind of person I wanted to be, not just the kind of person I wanted other people to think I was. And I put time into things that really mattered to me. So slowly but surely, I started to laugh with people. I started wearing clothes that made me happy rather than trying to dress like someone who was successful or like someone who was attractive. I started being open with people about how much I liked Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and I danced and I sang whenever I felt like it. And I found that underneath all that pain, there was this really joyful, childlike self, my true self. So I let her be in charge for once. I met the man who would become my husband, and am now in a phase of life where I'm learning what it means to parent from my true self with my two just beautiful boys. Now, it is not all puppies and sunshine, okay, but I feel real and unafraid for the first time in my life, and I wouldn't trade that for all the puppies and sunshine in the world. So as I got more solid ground underneath me, I started to do the same sort of work I had done on myself with my clients, my therapy clients. I got them to meditate. I got them to explore the beliefs that they hold about themselves that show up when we sit in stillness. All those, I'm not enough, I'm not allowed to express anger, there's something wrong with me, all those kinds of thoughts. I showed them how to be compassionate with themselves and others, both in their thinking and in their choices. I taught them the incredible power of setting boundaries in relationships using dialectical behavior therapy strategies. And lo and behold, they started to see the same kind of differences that I had. I don't know why that shocked me, but it kind of did. So these were clients who came from all kinds of backgrounds, and they had all manner of soul wounds. Some had really intense childhood trauma, while others would say that their childhoods really weren't that bad. And that is an incredibly important point, okay? An experience does not have to be traumatic to be impactful, okay? Any experience that plants a seed for how we will grow to see ourselves and the world matters. So don't get hung up on this notion that your past wasn't bad enough to warrant some healing work. So here's what I saw start to happen. Okay, so clients who came from alcoholic families, who had learned to be emotional caretakers and secret keepers, started to express their emotions freely. They started unapologetically taking care of themselves first. Clients who came from abusive marriages and overachieving parents started to relax on purpose. They started to set clear boundaries with their exes. They learned to be kind to themselves. And they learned that anger doesn't always have to be violent. It can be this incredibly powerful fuel for change. Clients who had abusive inner critics, keeping them from all sorts of goals, started to take chances on themselves, to apply for grad school, to start businesses. They started busting out of these familiar zones with anxiety, sure, but also with a sense of possibility. You know, maybe I'm not as limited as I've been telling myself, and maybe I could handle the disappointment if I fail. So now I want to get this process to as many people as I can. If you've read my book, Soul Wounds, you've seen these steps outlined, but I want to help you along the way, and I want to go deeper. Now, if you can read a book and commit to all the changes it suggests, that's great, but I know I needed some accountability to help me on my journey, and real-time contact is what accountability is all about. So I'm going to be doing a 6-week program called Soul Wound Sessions. You're going to get 6 1.5-hour live webinars walking you through this wound work process. You're going to get access to a seasoned therapist, that's me, to help you troubleshoot any difficult or stuck points that you have. And you're going to get resources that aren't mentioned in the book because I had to stop somewhere. So more importantly, you're going to get to connect to a group of people who are all ready to do the same work that you're doing. And having a community is invaluable. All of that you're going to get for $150. You're also going to have access to the content after the live broadcast. So if you miss one, you'll be able to watch the replay forever. It's not going away. Okay. So we go live on October 27th, which is just in time for some boundary setting skills for the holidays. Awesome. So this is only going to be available though for the next 4 days. Don't hem and haw about this. Follow the link below, sign up while there is still space available. And I get it. It's really hard to invest time and money in yourself because it feels selfish, right? I know I used to be an absolute pro at minimizing my needs and putting as few resources into myself as possible. But you deserve to feel whole, to make sense of whatever crap has happened to you. You deserve a life that means something, and no one but you is capable of making those changes. Newsflash. Okay. I hope you'll join me and all the other warriors who are about to do their wound work. Follow the link below, sign up, and I will see you on October 27th. Take care of yourselves and each other.